Hello together. Greetings for the day. Welcome to Positive Thoughts. Today we are going to see an interesting concept called amygdala hijack. Amygdala hijack is an important phenomenon in handling the emotional intelligence quotient effectively. Before even going to see what the amygdala hijack is all about, let's try to see two different types of brains that we have. One is a logical brain, another one is an emotional brain. So logical brain is responsible for your logical and rational thinking. Emotional brain is responsible for handling the emotions. So logical brain is residing over the prefrontal cortex of your brain and is responsible for logical thinking. Emotional brain. So when coming to emotional brain, there are two amygdalas which is associated with emotional brain. The two amygdalas are present in the limbic system of your brain and it is responsible for emotion handling. So what is amygdala? Amygdala actually it is the emotional center of your brain. It is nothing but a radar system of your brain to detect the threat and handling the situation. Yeah, and amygdala hijack is nothing but whenever a stressful situation or unpleasant situation or unfavorable situation is realized, amygdala detects that as a threat or undesired situation, and it tries to take the control over your logical brain. So for a moment the logical brain would be shut down and then emotional brain will take the control over it. So emotional brain or the amygdala will override your logical brain so that amygdala will do whatever it would like to do just in milliseconds. Yeah. So generally the amygdala will try to give three kinds of response. So one is your fight response, another one is flight response, another one is freeze response. Let me try to explain all those things with some real-time scenarios. For example, when you happen to touch the fire unintentionally, then you try to take your palm far away from the fire. So this is a classic example for flight response. And then when you try to see a dog and when it is about to bite you, all of a sudden you try to throw whatever you have on your hand onto the dog just to safeguard your life. So this is a classic example of fight response. Another one is like a freeze response. Recent past I had seen one video in social media wherein mom and daughter went to a open space restaurant and then there all of a sudden bear comes and it eats the food. So that time mom and daughter exhibited a standstill behavior. So they were freezed and bear will come, eat everything and leave as it is the place. So this is a very classic example of freeze response. So these are the three responses that the amygdala is going to give. So whenever a real threat is identified, amygdala overrides your logical brain and tries to safeguard your life. This is fine, absolutely fine. But there are also some instances wherein some normal scenario would be imagined like a threat by the amygdala and it does also this amygdala hijack. So let's try to see what are the examples of imagined threat or imagined unpleasant situation or stressful situation. Here we go. Alright, we are going to see some examples of amygdala hijack which you can very well resonate that with your lifetime instances as well. For example, you invited a family or relative for lunch to your home and then you prepared some food, sweets and then insisted kids saying that not to taste the food first in front of the relatives, and your kids exactly does the same in front of the relatives. And then when somebody body shames on you and when somebody irritates comparing your own child with others, or when somebody irritates you saying that they're always right even though they committed mistakes, and when you call your husband during offices and ask her whether did he already have the lunch or not, expecting an answer that he would say and elaborate how the food was, how the food tasted and so on, but he simply says that yes, I had my lunch. And then when you are about to go for a party or reception, your husband in office totally forgets about the party and then comes late to the house. So these are the instances where you can immediately, just in millisecond, your amygdala hijack can happen. Alright, we have been talking so much about amygdala hijack, but what it does, what actually it does, whenever the amygdala hijack happens, what are the consequences of that? So whenever the logical brain is being hijacked by your emotional brain or amygdala, how do you find it? How do you sense that? Yeah. So I'm going to list out or summarize some of the things that is going to happen when the amygdala hijack is about to happen. So it will be like your heart would beat very fast and you would be experiencing shortness of breath kind, and you'd feel really uncomfortable, and you start yelling people in front of you uncontrollably kind, and then your words would get stuck, and you'll be finding it very difficult to formulate even a the simple sentence kind, like that. Your palms would get wet, and palms getting wet is a very classic example of imagined threat. For example, some people would be little shy away from public speaking, so whenever the situation demands them like a public speaking, and their palms will easily get wet. Yeah, so it's like it is not a real threat, but the brain senses the emotional brain sense that as a threat, so it is a kind of imagined threat. Originally speaking, the audience sitting or standing in front of them not going to kill them or something, even they know it, but the amygdala doesn't know that, so it imagines that as a threat, and it will try to give the consequences of amygdala hijack. All these consequences we are already aware of, but only thing is like we don't know that it is a byproduct of amygdala hijack. Only that's the difference. Otherwise, these consequences on the behavioral aspect is very well known to everybody. Yeah. So name it and tame it. So when you name it as a consequence of amygdala hijacks, it is a little bit easy to handle. Okay, when the amygdala, we have seen the examples of amygdala hijack and the consequences of amygdala hijacks. Now is that as a part of emotional intelligence quotient, how to calm your amygdala hijack. For example, when the amygdala hijack happens, how do you handle it effectively? Being a very good person in handling the emotional intelligence quotient. Yeah. So it's like there are different techniques are available. For example, you can start whenever the amygdala hijack happens. You sense that the situation is not favorable, and you might lose your control. Something like that. If you're able to sense it, you try to do a reverse counting and take some water, and you can postpone your conversation even. For example, if you feel like you would be uncontrollably yell at people at the front, then you can just even postpone the conversation. After a break, can we have a discussion? Like that, you can voluntarily say that as well. And then there are some good stress relieving techniques are available. For instance, whenever the amygdala hijack is about to happen, you can breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds, all those things. But I would not recommend all those things, because when the amygdala hijack is going to happen, it is completely a different situation. You don't want to reverse count or something like, even though you know that reverse counting could calm down your emotional brain, you don't do that. You don't feel like doing that. So I'm going to tell you a secret or a technique which would best fit in handling the amygdala hijack. Here we go. So the technique is very simple. Whenever you realize that the amygdala hijack is going to happen, it is very hard for you to do the simple steps like reverse counting, taking some water, so that your logical brain takes the control back, over the emotional brain. It is very difficult in the real time scenario. So let it go with the same, instance only, that same scenario that your brain goes through. It's fine. But you try to ask only 2 questions. One thing is like, what your emotional brain wants you to do, and what your logical brain wants me to do. Very simple. Like you can ask like, what my emotional brain wants me to do, what my logical brain wants me to do. For example, you try to see the queue violation. You're standing in some bank or getting a movie ticket wherein the queue is getting violated by some people. They'll be trying to join, before you kind. And then, so only 2 questions. No, what my emotional brain wants me to do, what my logical brain wants me to do. You just realize, you try to internalize that within yourself. So what my emotional brain wants me to do is like, I'll be telling that, are we fools to stand in the queue? Are you like a VIP to join in queue in wherever place that you would like to join? Like that, and then try to scold. This is your emotional brain step. Yeah. And what my logical brain wants me to do. It's okay. Let them. So I have an additional time to talk to my husband. Otherwise, it is very difficult to have some time with my husband. It's okay. Let them violate the queue. So this is the logical brain. I'm not going to spoil my mood, because after scolding to the person, you don't feel comfortable for some time for sure. So you'll not be able to enjoy the movie or something. So you try to take a step that it's okay. Let it be fine. Let me get some more time to talk to my husband. This is one way. Another example goes something like this. When somebody compares your own child with their child, and then again a 2 question, what my emotional brain wants me to do is like to scold them left and right, saying that, who the hell are you to compare my own child with your child? Each kid is different. They can be unique, and they can shine whenever the time a turn comes to them, like that. But if you do like that, the entire mood would get spoiled and then the situation would go even worse. Yeah. Now, try to ask another question, what my logical brain wants me to do. So, my logical brain would say so, like, it's okay. Each unique is different. Like how each kid is different and unique, like that, even each individual is different. So, my value system is like, not to compare, and their value system is to compare. So, it's okay, it is fine. And I need to appreciate the differences as well. So I can't insist the other person also to exhibit or the same kind of maturity that I have. So you can simply ignore them and start enjoying your life. So another example is like when yourself and your husband goes to the mall and then suddenly your husband says that, looking far away and says that, how beautiful she's looking in that red saree. Yeah. And now that the real amygdala hijack for definitely will happen for all the ladies. And then again, two questions. One is what my emotional brain wants me to do. Another one is a logical brain. What my logical brain wants me to do. So what my emotional brain wants me to do in this kind of adverse scenario is like to scold him right away, saying that how many times I wore red saree, you never seem to turn to me and say that you're looking beautiful kind, and you always like to appreciate somebody else in front of me, all those things. So again, the mood would get spoiled and you don't feel like comfortable for the whole day. Even for the next day also it can continue, only for this example at least. But just think about the logical brain. So what my logical brain wants me to do. So you just try to internalize that within yourself and says that it's okay, it is fine. How honest is my husband? He can also does the same thing without even telling to me, but he says to me, then that means he wants me to feel possessive on him, something like that. So it's okay. So then you try to enjoy your own life. Okay. After knowing all these tips and tricks of amygdala hijack, I am very confident that you all will lead a stress-free life with more positivity. Let's try to see another interesting episode on emotional intelligence quotient in upcoming series. Until then, this is Ambika Solesh signing off. Take care. Bye-bye. Let your mind and soul be filled with high rays of positive thought. Thank you.